Welcome to Insidious Inc., where the darkest stories find you. Have you ever looked into the eyes of someone in a costume and felt like something was looking back? Like the smile was too wide and the silence too heavy? What if that Easter Bunny from your childhood wasn't a person in a suit, but something else entirely? This is the story of the haunting Easter Bunny. The first time I saw it, I thought it was a prank. I was 10 years old. It was the night before Easter, and like every year, I set out a cheap plastic basket on my dresser, hoping to wake up to candy and maybe a toy or two. I had just started to grow out of the whole Easter Bunny thing, but I still wanted to believe. Just one more year of magic. But that night, I woke up to a sound in the hallway. It wasn't quite footsteps, more like dragging, shuffling, as if something was crawling across the floor. I heard a faint but steady sound. It was getting closer. At first, I thought it was my dad checking on me, maybe tripping over something in the dark, but then I heard it again. Like claws, tapping, slowly and deliberately against the wood. I sat up in bed, with my heart pounding in my ears. The hallway outside my room was completely dark, but I could just make out the faintest movement. Something crawling low to the ground, lurking. I leaned forward to get a better look, and then it stood up. At first glance, it looked like someone in a bunny costume, but not the kind you'd see at the mall. This one was old, rotten looking. Its fur was yellowed and filthy, like it had been soaked in dirt and sweat. One of its ears was torn and dangled limp by its side, while the other stood upright, twitching in short, jerky bursts, like a dying insect's leg. And the face, oh my god, the face, wasn't soft or friendly. It sagged unnaturally, tight in places, as if the mask had melted halfway down and fused with whatever was underneath. Its eyes were the worst part. They were too wide, too human but not quite. It was like someone had tried to mimic a person's eyes without fully understanding what people actually looked like, and it was staring directly at me. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. I just sat there, frozen. Then it raised one of its gloved fingers and slowly tapped it against its mouth. Shh. It stayed like that for several seconds. Its head tilted at a disturbing angle before backing away into the shadows. I don't remember falling asleep, just the crushing weight of dread pressing down on me like something inside me had shut down completely. The next morning, everything looked normal. The basket was still on my dresser, and inside it were jelly beans. But they weren't the kind you buy in stores. They were sticky, deformed, like someone had been holding them in a sweaty hand for hours, and they smelled faintly of copper. I didn't tell anyone, because how could I? Who would believe me? But that wasn't the last time I saw it. Every year after that, on the night before Easter, it came back, always between 2 and 3 a.m., like clockwork. I'd hear it crawling, dragging, the now familiar sound of claws scraping slowly across the wooden floor. Sometimes, in the morning, I'd find muddy footprints by the front door, human-shaped, but too long. The toes are too pointed, the stride was too wrong. Sometimes jelly beans would reappear on my nightstand, wet, melting into sticky puddles, clumped together as if squeezed in a clenched fist. One year when I was 12, I found a rabbit's foot tied to my doorknob with frayed fishing wire. Not the fake, lucky kind you get at a gas station. This one was real, still damp. Its fur was grey and clumped with dried blood. The skin looked like it had been roughly torn off. The nails blackened and cracked, curling in unnatural directions. The smell was worse, like rotting meat left out in the sun. I showed my parents. They said it was a sick prank, probably from some neighborhood kid. They threw the foot away like it was nothing, but I knew better. I begged them to let us stay in a hotel the next Easter. I pleaded with them, crying, shaking, trying to explain without sounding insane. They thought I was just being dramatic, said I was too old for scary movies, too old to believe in monsters. But they didn't understand what I was dealing with. They didn't hear it breathing outside my door at night. They didn't see its shadow move across the walls when the lights were off. They didn't know that every year, it was getting closer. By the time I was 13, I made up my mind. I was going to face it. I stayed awake the entire night, sitting upright in bed with my eyes fixed on the hallway. I clutched a kitchen knife in both hands, knuckles white, too terrified to blink for long. At exactly 2:14 a.m., I heard it. The soft clack of claws against the wooden floor. The slow, suffocating sound of breathing, wet and uneven, like something struggling just to exist. Then, it appeared. It stepped into my doorway, fully upright this time, and walked to the foot of my bed. The costume was worse than ever, rotting, decayed, ripped open across the chest. Through the torn fabric, I could see skin. Pale, veiny, and stretched, too thin. The shape of it was all wrong, like whatever was inside the costume was never meant to fit a human form. Its arms dangled at its sides, too long, the fingers curling and twitching. It leaned forward, its face jerking in short, unnatural spasms like a glitching puppet. Its breath hit my face, hot and damp, reeking of mold and rotting leaves, and then it spoke. "You never leave me anything," it rasped. Its voice was wet, thick, like it was gurgling through a mouthful of raw meat. Each word squelched out like it was pushing through blood. That's the last thing I remember. I blacked out. The next morning, my mum found me curled up on the floor beside my dresser, shaking and drenched in sweat. I had scratched the word "stop" into the wood over and over with my fingernails. They were bleeding. 2 of them had been torn off completely. That was the year we moved. But it didn't matter. It followed. Every Easter Eve, no matter where we were, new house, new town, I heard it. The dragging, the whispering, the heavy breathing through the walls. Last year, it got bolder. I was brushing my teeth, staring at the mirror, and there it was, behind me. But it wasn't a reflection. It wasn't mimicking my movements, it was just watching. Its head slowly tilted to the side. Then it raised a hand and tapped its mouth. Shh. I turned around. Nothing there. The lights flickered once and returned to normal, but I knew I wasn't safe anymore. But this year something's changed. Earlier tonight, I got a knock at the door. I froze as I checked the clock. It was 2:03 a.m. I peeked through the peephole, but no one was there. Just a plastic basket. Old, cracked, faded yellow. Inside were 3 things: a bloodied rabbit's foot, a clump of jelly beans still wet, and a torn scrap of paper. Scrawled in messy, childlike writing, "You forgot again." I closed the door, bolted it, then sat in the corner of my room with every light on. I kept a knife in my hand and my phone recording, but the lights have started to flicker. The air smells like damp fur, and the floorboards creak like something is crawling just beneath them. I think it's here already, but this time it's not wearing a costume. I saw it, just a glimpse, in the corner of my mirror. The fur isn't fake anymore, it's grown from the skin. The smile is wider now and real, with too many teeth, too human. Its eyes blink, and worst of all, it knows I'm awake. If your Easter basket starts showing up with things that shouldn't be inside, maybe it's not just a prank. Maybe he's come to visit you too. Because some things don't want to be believed in, they just want to be remembered and fed. So if you hear shuffling outside your room tonight, leave something in the basket, or he'll take something from you instead. Thank you for joining us tonight at Insidious Inc. So if you liked this story, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next, because next time, it only gets darker. Sleep tight, and happy Easter.